Today's notes are a review of what we've done in Unit 5. We will be taking a quiz next class. We'll have problems similar to all the ones we're getting ready to complete. Today's assignment will also be good review to make sure you're ready for that quiz. So Unit 5 review, question number 1 is on function notation. It tells us to let f of x be equal to 4x minus 7. F of x is equal to 4x minus 7. Part A asks us to evaluate f of 3. F of x is 4x minus 7. We need to find f of 3. So first of all, this notation, again, it's read f of 3. This is not multiplication in here. This is telling us which function to use. So we're using function f. That's the only one that's been given. And our x value is 3. So we go to our f of x equation, we replace the x with a 3, and we evaluate. 4 times 3 is 12, minus 7 gives us 5. F of 3 is equal to 5. This means for the f of x function, when x is 3, my y value is 5. My function value is 5. Part B. Part B looks similar, but it's got a variable in there. It wants us to evaluate f of 2b. F of 2b. We do it exactly the same way. Instead of plugging 3 in, now I have an expression to plug in. I'm plugging 2b in for the x. So if I plug 2b in for the x, it's going to say 4 times, instead of x, I'm putting 2b in for the x, minus 7. Instead of 4x minus 7, I've got 4 times 2b minus 7. 4 times 2b is 8b. 8b and minus 7 are not like terms, so I cannot combine them. That is my answer. And part C asks us to evaluate f of 3c minus 2. F of 3c minus 2. Well, f of 3, we put 3 in for x. F of 2b, we put 2b in for x. F of 3c minus 2, we're going to take 3c minus 2, and we are substituting it in for the x. So it's going to say 4 times x minus 7, but instead of x, I'm putting in 3c minus 2. We replace the x with a 3c minus 2, and then we simplify. I've got a number in front of a parenthesis, so I can distribute. 4 times 3c is 12c. 4 times negative 2 is minus 8. Negative 8 minus 7, those are like terms. Negative 8 minus 7, they're both negative, so I do 8 plus 7 is 15. It's minus 15. 12c minus 15. Number two, we are given the graph of a line, and it asks us to find the slope. State the slope of the given line. And in part A, we have this line right here. Looks like we have points at negative 3, negative 1, and 3, 3. Points at negative 3, negative 1, and 3, 3. So when we find the slope of a line and the line's given on a graph, the easiest way to do it is to think through slope is equal to rise over run. Slope is rise over run. So start at the leftmost point. We're trying to get to the right point. Our rise is up 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is positive 4, positive because we went up. And my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we go up and to the right, our slope is positive. If we go down and to the right, our slope is negative. Again, I would recommend starting with the leftmost point. We do need to write our answer in simplest form. If we can divide this and it comes out even, you want to divide it. If not, 4 divided by 6 does not come out even. In that case, we want to try to reduce it. So I want to see, is there anything I can divide the top and the bottom both by? 4 and 6, I can divide them both by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 over 3 is our slope. Part B, similar problem. We're given different points. This point is at 2, 5, 2, 5. And this point is at 3, 0. We have points at 2, 5 and 3, 0. We are asked to find the slope. Again, slope of a line. If we are given the graph, we should be thinking through slope is rise over run. Our rise, I start at the leftmost point. That's this one, the furthest one to the left, this one. I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went down 5. Negative 5 is my rise. And my run is to the right 1 over 1. Try to divide. Negative 5 divided by 1 is negative 5. And that's our answer. Number 3 asks us to find the slope between 2 points. We are given 2 points and we need to find the slope. Find the slope between the points negative 4, 2 and 6, negative 2. Negative 4, 2 and 6, negative 2. We're going to use the slope formula. Slope formula says m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. This formula will be on the quiz. It'll be up at the top of the quiz. You'll need to know when to use it and how to use it, but you will not have to memorize the formula. Next thing we're going to do is label our points. This is the x value of my first point. This is the y value of my first point. X sub 2, y sub 2. And now we plug things in where they belong. Y sub 2 is negative 2. Minus, from the formula, y sub 1. Y sub 1 is 2. Over x sub 2 is 6. Minus, x sub 1 is negative 4. So we have 6 minus negative 4. Minus negative, we're going to change that to plus. Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. 6 plus 4 is 10. 4 divided by 10 does not come out even, so we want to try to reduce it. 4 and 10, we can divide those both by 2. Negative divided by positive, that should be negative 2 over 5. It just asked us to find the slope. It didn't ask us to write an equation. We don't have to go anywhere from there. That is the slope. We are finished. Number 4 asks us to graph an equation. Graph each linear equation. Give you a minute to sketch your coordinate plane. Graph the given equation, and in part A it says y equals negative x plus 5. Y equals negative x plus 5. Remember, we have our slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form says y equals mx plus b. M is slope, b is y-intercept. So in this case, b is 5. My y-intercept is 5. And m is -1. If there's not something written there, it's understood to be a 1. So my slope is -1. We always graph the y-intercept first. Always graph your y-intercept first. So our y-intercept is 5, so we need to cross the y-axis at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my y-intercept right here. And then I can graph my slope. A slope of -1. Remember, it's rise over run. If it's not a fraction, let's make it a fraction by putting it over 1. Rise is -1. Run is +1. Rise is -1. Run is +1. Down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. If I need other points over here, I can also go up 1 and left 1, and that's on the same line. Notice up 1, run of -1, left 1, that's also -1. And I've got a whole bunch of points. We should be able to graph our line. Part B, y equals -2/3 x minus 1. Y equals -2/3 x minus 1. The y-intercept is -1. We graph the y-intercept first. The slope is what's next to the x, in this case -2/3. My slope is negative, so I'm going down 2, right 3. Down 2, right 3. Again, if your slope's positive, I would recommend at least your first points going up and to the right. Slope is negative, go down and to the right. And then if you need other points over here, we can go up and left, and that's on that exact same line. And part C says y equals 4x minus 7. Y equals 4x minus 7. My y-intercept is -7. There's a y-intercept of -7. And my slope is 4. 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. So we're going up 4, right 1. Up 4, right 1. Yeah, that's a bad line. Connect those points. Number five. Next thing we did was start to write equations. Number 5 asked us to write an equation for the line given its slope, -2, and its y-intercept, 9. Write an equation of a line that has a slope of -2 and a y-intercept of 9. We have slope and we have y-intercept. When that's the case, we start with slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Slope is -2, so I can put that in for m. Y-intercept, that's b, is 9. Put 9 in for b. Y equals -2x plus 9. If they give you slope and y-intercept, that problem's easy enough. Number 6, we're still writing an equation, but this time we are given a graph. We have a graph of the line, and we need to write an equation of the line. Notice they don't tell us what the slope is like they did on the last problem, but we can figure it out. Slope is rise over run, so down 1, right 4. Down, so negative rise over 4. They also don't tell us the y-intercept, but we can see it right here. The y-intercept is -1. And now this problem's exactly like number 5. We know the slope and we know the y-intercept. So we can think about y equals mx plus b. Slope is negative 1/4. Y-intercept is negative 1. Part B, we are given another line. We need to write an equation of that line. Looks like our y-intercept's right here at negative 2. We need to identify another point. It didn't give us the big old points like it did on part A, but I can see another one right here. There's another one right here. Be another one down here. I'm going to start with the leftmost point, and notice I'm going up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. My slope is up 3 over 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3. And now we can write our equation of the line. Y equals m x plus b. And finally, number 7, question number 7. Write an equation of the line that has a slope of negative 3 and passes through the point 5, negative 2. Write an equation of the line that has a slope of negative 3 and passes through the point 5, negative 2. We have slope, but we do not know y-intercept. It doesn't say what the y-intercept is. Instead, it gives us another point. So if I have slope and point, I cannot start with slope-intercept form because we don't know the y-intercept. Instead, we start with point-slope form. Point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. Again, formulas will be on your quiz up at the top. You'll receive slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and the slope formula. We need our slope to be negative 3 and our point to be 5, negative 2. So x1 is 5, y1 is negative 2, y minus negative 2. And now we're going to distribute the negative 3. Negative 3 times x. Negative 3 times negative 5. Negative times negative is positive. Get y by itself by subtracting 2 from both sides. 15 minus 2 gives us positive 13. Y equals negative 3x plus 13. The quiz next class will have problems similar to all of the ones that we just reviewed. There will not be anything on the quiz that we did not just review. Today's assignment will have additional practice problems to help you get ready for that quiz.